Hey, Allie! Are you still not back home yet? I just got here and you're nowhere to be found.
Hello, Charlie. I'm still coming back home from work like always, and I'm making my stop at the supermarket, like always. Actually, it seems you're home a lot sooner than normal. What happened that allowed you to be home around 5?
I can come home anytime I want to.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. And that means the same applies to me. I'm doing what I'm always doing at this time of day and haven't done anything that should be making you upset with me.
What? I see. Then you hurry up with the groceries and get home to make me dinner. I'm starving right now and don't want to wait any longer.
Okay.
And the bath isn't even ready for me. How come the bath isn't ready for me?
When I get home from work, I usually take care of things like that, the way I've always been doing it. I normally get home a bit after 5, and you normally get home around 7.
And normally you should have all this stuff handled for me before I get home, like a good wife would do.
And since you've gotten home earlier than normal, that won't be possible. I also happen to have a job, and that means that any time before 5 p.m. won't work because I'm at work.
Jesus. I say one thing and you have some kind of comeback. I say another thing and then it's a different comeback. That right there is why both myself and Kylie hate you.
Now that you mention her, is Kylie back from college yet?
Huh? Her shoes were at the front of the house when I got back home, so I'm sure she's up in her room now.
I see. Well, thanks for telling me. Now I'm getting back to my shopping so that I can be home as soon as possible. Hey, Dad. Isn't it getting to be that time where we don't need that old woman here anymore?
Huh? What do you want now, Kylie?
It's been a year now since Grandma passed away, which means that in the next couple of months, I'm going to be heading to work for the first time ever. And, well, the company that I'm planning on working for is a ways away, so I was thinking of moving to a place closer to the office to live on my own.
Oh?
In other words, if you get rid of the old woman, then you can get married to that hot girlfriend of yours and have a wonderful later half of your life with her, right?
What? Hold on, you know about my girlfriend?
From time to time I see her with you, so... And of course, as your daughter, I'm rooting for you to be with the woman you love most.
I see. Thank you so much, Kylie.
Old woman, you understand that today is the day I'm moving out and into my own apartment to start my new life alone, right? Good morning, Kylie. Of course I know about that. Is there anything you'd like me to help you out with right now? Are you kidding me? I don't want your filthy hands touching any of my things, so stay away from the house today. What? I don't want any of your help, and I hate the idea of you being around me while I leave, so stay out. Don't come home until later tonight. Is that right? It seems we really raised one of the most helpless kids ever in this house. Huh? Perhaps this is what happens when we let you hang out with your abusive grandma all the time, who just had a blast making me feel unwanted. What the heck are you talking about? None of that makes any sense. I didn't expect you to understand what I was talking about there, so don't even worry about it. Since I can be out of the house all day today, I'll go and handle some of the things I've been needing to get to now. Then hurry up and get out of this house so I can get ready. Go away!
Hey, Allie, you understand that today is the day Kylie moves out of this house, right?
I know. I could tell from all the commotion I heard in her bedroom earlier this morning.
And as a mother, you didn't even bother to help her out with any of her packing? Instead, heading out the front door to leave her home all alone?
She told me herself that she didn't need my help and she didn't want me home to watch her leave the house, so she said I needed to stay out until later tonight. And that is why I left the house just then. Next time, please talk with her first before coming to me with your complaints.
So that's what happened there.
I was told this first thing in the morning, so I wasn't able to prepare any meals for you guys today.
Well, today's a special day anyway. I'll forgive you for not doing anything.
Is that so? Well, thank you so much for your forgiveness. Now, I have some errands that I'd like to finish up today myself, so I won't be able to talk until later tonight.
Is that right? Well, go ahead and do whatever you want.
I will. I'll make sure to do everything I want. Charlie, I'm almost home from my day out. And, well, I just walked by the trash down the road, and for some reason, a lot of my things were in it. Do you mind telling me why a lot of my things were just in that trash pile all the way down here by the dumpster? I noticed some larger things of mine were also in that pile, like my dresser and my nightstand. Tomorrow is not a day where they come around to collect larger trash items, you know.
You don't have to come back to this house anymore.
What?
What I'm saying is, I can't believe you hung around Kylie and me for the past 20 years, when we both have hated your guts since the very start.
Ugh. I believe the reason that Kylie has always had a lot against me is because of the way you and your mother behaved towards me. Since you always had her going over to your parents' house, she was being raised by your harassing mother and was taught to treat me like the housemaid. She got to sit there and watch front seats as you and your mother would always trash talk about me while forcing me to do all the chores while working a full-time job, so of course she began to hate me the same way. I guess there was no helping this outcome, though, because I never did anything to stop it.
Stop running your annoying little mouth already. Kylie's gotten herself a job now and won't be around anymore, which means I have no use for a housemaid like you anymore. Get out of my life. Understood,
Charlie. I will gladly get out of your life.
I want you and the rest of your things out of here in 1 hour.
Oh, you don't have to give me an hour, Charlie. Most of my things have already been moved out of that house, so I don't need to really grab anything from there.
Huh?
To make this understandable for someone who lacks any wits like you, no, I'm not talking about how all of my things are in the trash now. I planned on moving, so I had made sure to send all the things I wanted to keep to my new place in advance, and left all the things I didn't care for in that house. I was doing that today while you were at work and Kylie was getting her things ready to go. Originally, I had planned to go back to that house to gather all the things I didn't need and take them to this dumpster. But you've already handled that for me and are even telling me to stay away now. So I'll stay away from there and start going to my new place of residence.
Yo, what the hell are you going on about?
I'll leave it up to you whether or not you want to come out here and collect all those larger items like my dresser that cannot be thrown out tonight.
I'm asking you what the hell you're going on about. I get that I'm telling you to get out of my house right now, but what you're making things sound like is you've planned on leaving this house before I told you to.
Yes, that's because I've been planning to.
Huh?
Could you be surprised because you forgot something very important? About a year ago, after we had your mother's funeral and were on our way home from there, weren't you the one asking me to divorce you and saying that things between us had gone cold?
What?
But at the time, Kylie was still in college and hadn't found a company that wanted to hire her yet. We didn't want to cause any stress for her then by getting a divorce and having me move out of the house, so I recommend we just hold off on the divorce until after she graduated from school, right? And after listening to my suggestion, you agreed with me. Therefore, the plan was after Kylie graduated and was on her way to her first company job, I'd prepare for the divorce and leave the house.
Now that you mention it, that's right.
As for things like splitting the property and such in the divorce, I've made sure to get myself a lawyer to help us out.
What? You went and got yourself a lawyer already?
That's right. We've been married for 20 years now, right? Neither of us know about all the properties that we've shared for those past 20 years, and so I wanted a professional to help us out with all of that so that the transition was smooth and safe. I was recommended to do this by a friend of mine who also works in law, so we should trust doing what she's recommended to me.
This all sounds like a pain in the butt, but you've already asked for their help, right? The lawyers?
Yes, I have. I thought that since this would be a pain in the butt for the both of us, the best choice would be to get a lawyer.
I guess there's nothing I can do about that now. All right then, Allie. Hey, Allie! What the hell is this settlement about? You told me you only got that lawyer to help with our properties, right? Why am I being asked to pay you a settlement now?
And if you had taken a look at the papers and at all the evidence that's attached to them, you would understand why and not have to yell at me.
What evidence?
There's a document stating the procedures that were taken to prove that you've been cheating on me with another woman. And along with that document are some pieces of evidence proving what happened. I believe some pictures and a USB with audio recordings.
What the hell? You were having someone investigate me?
I sure was. And thanks to having our divorce wait for 1 year, I had enough time to get people together to go and get all that evidence for me and prepare the legal case that will get me that settlement.
What did you say?
So now that you're aware of what needs to happen next, you can get in touch with my lawyer again and have those talks. Also, we've been renting that house for the last 20 years now, which means by the end of next month, you need to be out of there so that the landlord can have it back and prepare for his next tenants.
Huh?
I can see that you haven't been preparing for anything and that this is all a major shock to you right now. But I'd put those emotions on hold so that you can get to work moving out of that house.
Wait! Why did you wait to tell me all of these really important things until right now?
What? I thought we talked about all of this a year ago after we had that talk about getting a divorce.
That's not what I'm talking about! Why have I not been told about this house when I've been the breadwinner here?
Excuse me? I thought that I had always been the one making the most money and handling all the payments.
Huh?
5 years ago, when your father first passed away, there was a lot of paperwork that had to be done for the place, like who would be in charge of the house and be considered the next tenant in it. Your mom, of course, didn't have any way of paying rent on the place since she'd never worked a day in her life. And you always complained about how you didn't want to do paperwork, and so you had me handle it all. You didn't even join me to co-sign the papers or anything, leaving me with one choice, and that was to become the sole renter of that house. Of course, I've been bringing in the most money as well, so it kind of made sense that I pay the rent. But that is what happened. So for the past 5 years now, I've been paying most of the rent on that house, as well as for utilities and such.
What?
Are you saying this whole time you never noticed anything about that?
Now that you've explained it all to me, I guess I've never seen any money being taken out of my accounts for rent.
Then there you go, Charlie. I've left that house and ended my rental agreement for the place, and the landlord isn't looking to make you the next renter. So it would be best that you move out of there as soon as possible so that the landlord has time to deep clean and everything else. Hold on, old woman. I just got off the phone with Dad. Hi. I had told him earlier today that he would have to pay a settlement to me for having been cheating, and that would have to come with the divorce. I don't mind that you guys got a divorce, but now he's having to lose his house? Is that something a mom like you should be allowing to happen? I don't have any children, though. Huh? So you're telling me that with the divorce you're also cutting ties to your one and only daughter? And as things have always been, from the very start, I've not been your real mother. What? What are you talking about? I thought you'd been told this long ago, and even if you don't remember that, you should have noticed by now. What? What do you mean by that? I would love for you to go and ask about all of this from your father, but your real mother, the one who birthed you, died when you were only 3 months old due to a severe illness. And then, 2 months after that happened, your father ended up marrying me since I had worked for him as his housemaid before. That happened only 2 months after my actual mom's death? Everyone knew that I was raised a foster child and had never been adopted by anyone, so I had no family. And when I was old enough to start working, I went into being a housemaid for the wealthy and was doing that for years and years. At one point, I even worked for your parents and was your mother's favorite maid up until she passed away. Your father was going to force me to leave, but knowing that I didn't have anywhere to go after that, he made a proposal, and that was to become his new wife. I had no other choice but to listen to him. He told me that as long as I became his wife, I could live in his house and not have to pay a dime to do so as long as I continued to do the chores. Are you kidding me? Wait, then does that mean there was real meaning behind why I'd been calling you old woman the whole time instead of mom? That's right. Your father and your grandparents knew that I wasn't your real mother and didn't want you referring to me as such. Hence why they raised you to call me such a terrible thing. From the very start, I didn't want you to be raised in such a way that would turn you into not only a selfish little child, but a rude one as well. No way. If you don't believe what I'm telling you, just have a look at your birth certificate and you'll see what I'm talking about. My birth certificate? Well, your father and I have been divorced now, and in a few days here I'll be changing my phone number. So I think that after today, you and I won't be talking to one another ever again. Where will you be going then? I've been working for a newspaper company out in the next city over, so I've chosen to get an apartment close to there. Where I've already moved into, actually. A newspaper company? They're located in a part of town from one of my favorite books, but of course you'd never be able to guess what book that is. I was always reading it, but you never cared enough about me to know what I read. Of course not. Have a good one now, Kylie. Okay. Dad, there's been a lot of very hard to understand things going on. Honestly, what the hell happened?
What?
I don't even know how to feel about all of this, and I don't know how to feel about you or Grandma. For some reason, it's like I don't even know any of you anymore.
Kylie?
Well, now that I think about it, I haven't told you where I've moved to yet, have I? I think this is where I call it quits with you, Dad.
Wait, what?
Bye-bye.
Kylie!
After having heard the story that I gave her and thinking about how she never really had a mother figure growing up besides her grandma, Kylie started to lose it and began to think she'd never even want to get married because it's too difficult for her to understand emotionally. She also chose to cut her father out of her life so that she could get a feeling of starting fresh with no family just like I had growing up. Kylie ended up joining a company one of my old friends has become a part of, so for a bit I was hearing about how things were going there for Kylie. Because my friend noticed she had the same rare last name I had before the divorce. From what I'd been told, Kylie became this really gloomy girl in the workplace who never wanted to talk with anyone about anything, and has often gone home early due to not feeling well. My old friend told me that she can keep me in the loop on what all happens later on with Kylie, but I told him that she's not my daughter. Since she never treated me like her mother, I don't have any attachment to her. Now, when it comes to what happened with Charlie, there's a lot. I heard all of this from a friend around that house I was living in with him, and she told me the woman he had cheated on me with ran from him after the settlement. And because of that, he became sort of a hermit. He began to lose control of everything going on around him. Or rather, it seemed like he was just stuck in this trance after having lost everything, and only snapped back to reality a day before he had to be out of that house. So in a panic, he decided to go and move into one of the company's apartment complexes in order to avoid becoming homeless. He grabbed everything that he could carry on him and in his car and left the place, leaving more than half of his things there, which would later be tossed by the landlord. That apartment complex he moved into was primarily for younger employees of the company who had just been hired and moved into the area, so a lot of rumors started to spread about why an old man like him was there. And after a few months of being picked on by all of them and being reminded of the joke he was for letting his wife and daughter get away, he quit his job. Right now, he's out on the streets looking for any kind of work possible, while crying about the family he once had and would never be able to obtain again. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story. Christy, are you there? Did the wedding invite arrive yet? You didn't get back to me on whether you'd be coming or not, so I had no choice but to message you. Huh? What the? Listen to me, Mel. I already made it perfectly clear I had no intention of coming from the get-go, didn't I? Why would you go out of your way to send an invite when you already knew what the answer was? Wow, what am I even reading? This is your own brother's wedding we're talking about here. Of course you're coming. What about your duty to your family? What with the both of your parents having passed away, you'd be the only member of Kyle's family there. Are you really going to let him be all on his own like this? Don't you feel bad for your little brother? I don't need to be lectured about not coming to the wedding by the person who made me want to not come to the wedding in the first place. Besides, Kyle won't be on his own. He'll have you, your family, and his friends there with him. Huh? How did I make you not want to come to the wedding? What are you even talking about? Did you really think I didn't know? Oh, I know what this is about. Being a high school dropout really bothers you, doesn't it, Kirsty? Huh? It's fine, babe. You don't need to worry about that. It's a triviality. Anyway, we don't need you to have brains. Me and Kyle graduated university with flying colors after all. So we've got the intellect and achievement bases covered. Most of my family graduated university too. I totally get why you might feel ashamed and embarrassed about being a high school dropout. But honestly, you don't need to. We're not judging you for it, I promise. We're open-minded and accept people from all walks of life and backgrounds. That's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, that settles it. I'll put you down on the attending list. You can put me on whatever list you like. The bottom line is I'm not coming, and that's final. Yeah, whatever. Quit fooling me around already, Kirsty. You're obviously going to be there to support your little brother. Wow, you seriously don't get it, do you? Have you even realized why I don't want to come in the first place, or did it go straight over your head? Or are you doing this on purpose to tick me off? Yeah, whatever. Ugh, would you quit being so immature already? Anyway, you can say whatever you like. I'm not coming, and that's that. I amaze myself with how clever I am sometimes. It's no surprise I graduated university with brains like these. What are you talking about? I successfully switched jobs to something with better prospects and better pay. You switched jobs? Let's just say some things happened at my old job and I had to quit. I knew me and Kyle would be moving to a different town after the wedding anyways, so I figured I'd use me leaving the old place to find something more local with a more convenient commute. And guess what? A major global company just made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I'm the best. I doubt a high school dropout like you could ever accomplish anything like this. Wow, really? You actually got an offer that fast? You have no idea how hectic it was to find time to fit the interview in with the preparations for the wedding. I felt like I was barely getting time to eat, but boy, am I glad I went. I take it you changed your plans to become a full-time stay-at-home housewife then. Huh? I heard about you bragging to everyone about how you were going to quit your job when you got married because my brother Kyle's filthy rich due to being a top executive at one of America's most prestigious donut companies. That was... Oh, it's fine, Mel. You don't have to try and hide it or make excuses. I already know the reason. Huh? Anyway, I need to head back to work now, so... yeah, bye. I'm not sure I like your tone, Kirsty. This isn't over. Oh, and before I go, I know you can be slow and forgetful what with being a high school dropout and all, so allow me to remind you one more time. You are absolutely, positively, definitely, incontrovertibly, without a shadow of a doubt, coming to our wedding next month. And don't you forget it. It's gonna be a blast, and we wouldn't dream of celebrating without you there to share in our joy. Sis? Hello? The wedding's about to start, you know. Hurry up and get your ass down here. What are you talking about? Like I need to spell it out. Mine and Kyle's wedding is about to start, doofus. Oh, was that today? What? Of course it's today, and you know it. Quit playing dumb. I know you left the house wearing your best clothes this morning, so don't even try to hide it. That reminds me, I heard you moved into one of those apartments that was for sale in my neighborhood. I'm guessing that's how you appear to have been tracking my whereabouts. Jeez, you know, Mel, I was hoping you'd move as far away from me as humanly possible so I'd never have to deal with you again. But you had to go and move in practically next door to me, huh? Hey, wait a sec. No way. Did you get the wedding venue wrong? Huh? The wedding venue. Do you actually know where it is? We're doing it with a company called Matrimonial Magic Makers at their main wedding hall on 5th Street. Matrimonial Magic Makers? Oh, wow, I see. I'm guessing from your response. I knew it. Did you mix up the venue for your own brother's wedding? I guess it can't be helped. I should have written the invite in crayon so even a high school dropout like you could understand it. I'm pretty sure I already made this clear, but I had no intention of coming to the wedding to begin with. So there was no need for me to check where it was being held. Huh? I never planned on coming, so why would I waste my time? Waste your time? Mine and your brother's wedding is not a waste of time. I didn't bother to look at the date either. I'm at work today and I have a bunch of meetings with several important clients. That's the only reason I'm dressed especially smartly. Gotta make sure I leave a good impression, you know? Oh my god, are you serious? Hang on a sec, were you trying to pull a trick on me by intentionally writing the wrong wedding venue on my invite so I'd show up at the wrong place? You wouldn't do something so childish, would you, Mel? No way! I hit the nail on the head, huh? But now that I think about it, if you're getting married today, I take it you'll be absent from the new employee training session today then? Ooh, what the hell? Today was supposed to be your first day at your new job, wasn't it? We generally train up new employees for the week before they officially start. But since you got hired outside of our usual hiring season, the plan was to train you up officially starting from your first day. Today. You were made aware of the schedule over text and email, Mel. There was no reason you couldn't have let us know you wouldn't be able to make it. But it's a Sunday today! Well, the industry we work in isn't as subject to the weekday-weekend cycle as most others, which means a good chunk of our departments run just like normal on Sundays. What? It just so happens that your department is one of the many that work weekends. This, in combination with the fact that you were made aware you were supposed to be here, means there's no excuse for your absence. My coworker, the guy in charge of providing the newbie training, just sent me a message. The training course for our midterm recruitment newbies starts today. Can you believe one of them didn't show up on her very first day? Geez, Kirsty, where do we find these people? I won't send what came after that, but needless to say, he is furious. I think I did get some kind of training schedule over mail. Wait, are you telling me that was actually the schedule? I thought the part where it said I was in today was a mistake. If you thought it was a mistake, why didn't you make an inquiry? Surely that would have been the reasonable thing to do in this situation. 'Cause who the hell works on a Sunday? I figured it must have meant Monday, so I just ignored it. I was ready to come in tomorrow. Would you mind bearing with me for a little while, Mel? Thanks. I just checked with my coworker, and it turns out your shift today most definitely wasn't a data entry mistake. Huh? How the hell would you know that? Because my boss received a copy of the same training schedule that was sent out to all the newbies, and he just showed it to me. Huh? There are about half a dozen newbies starting today, and a few of them are going to be assigned to my department, which means my boss has access to all of the relevant materials. Wait, what the... Hang on a sec. Your boss? I thought you seemed weirdly knowledgeable about the inner workings of the company. Hang on, are you... Yep, bingo. I take it the penny finally dropped then? I work as a full-time employee at the company you received a provisional offer at. Oh my god, are you serious? Don't get me wrong, I have absolutely nothing to do with HR. Which means I was astonished when I found out my little brother's soon-to-be wife just got assigned to my department. Anyway, we'll have to get this situation sorted out soon. What's it gonna be, Mel? What do you mean? Whether you go through with your wedding is, of course, entirely up to you. But you should know it'll mean going down on the system as an absence without notification on your first day of work, no less. Basically, it's going to mean you failed to attend the first day of your mandatory employee training course without good reason. And since the offer you received was provisional, is all but guaranteed to mean your chances of getting a full-time contract are pretty much zero. I won't fall for this. I know you're trying to trick me. Excuse me? Trick you? It's so obvious. I can read you like a book. This is clearly nothing but a huge crock of bullshit you cooked up in desperation to avoid the shame and embarrassment of admitting you got the venue for your own brother's wedding wrong. This is why you can't trust a high school dropout with anything. Oh, you're free to interpret this whole situation like that if it makes you feel better, but I think you're aware of how ridiculous the situation that I'd make something like this up is, Mel. No, it makes perfect sense. Anyway, this is your fault for not giving mine and your brother's wedding your blessing in the first place. If you would have just fulfilled your goddamn duty as his sister to begin with, none of this would be happening. How exactly do you work that one out? Your wedding and today's newbie training have nothing to do with each other. Even if I had gone to the wedding, you would have still been expected to be in today as long as you didn't inquire about your misunderstanding over which day it was on. So why won't you come to the wedding? You're the only family Kyle has left now that your parents are dead. Are you really gonna make me explain it to you? Yes, because none of this makes any frickin' sense. For real, like, are you being serious right now? Whatever, you know what? It seems like you genuinely don't understand. Fine, it can't be helped. My brother Kyle was originally engaged to Michaela, your older sister, right? But you stole him from her by having an affair with him behind her back. So what? What's your point? Me and Kyle love each other, and that's all that matters. Who are you to try and stand in our way by dragging up the past like this? I'm not holding the fact you and my brother developed feelings for each other against you. It was the letting it develop into a full-blown affair while he was still engaged part that was despicable. Any decent human being would have waited until he'd broken off the engagement, or simply let go if he wasn't willing to. Huh? Naturally, I think you're despicable after demonstrating your absolute lack of virtue and moral fiber by tempting my brother into having an affair with you when you knew full well he was engaged to your sister. But I am also disgusted with my brother for meeting you halfway. If he has half a spine or a modicum of decency in him, he would have told you where to stick your seedy solicitations faster than you could say seedy two-bit whore. Which is why I was obviously never going to show up to the wedding, and to be honest, why I never want anything to do with either of you again for as long as I live. Besides, I already said all of this to Kyle. He knows I despise him and was never under any illusion I'd be at the wedding. So it genuinely baffles me that you didn't seem to get the message. Huh? You see, Kyle and I lost our parents in a traffic accident when I was still in high school. He was still in elementary school at the time, so I had no choice but to drop out so I could take care of him. I gave my everything to give him the best shot I possibly could at making something of his life. And how did he repay me? By coldly betraying your sister, one of the loveliest, most kind-hearted people I know, in the cruelest, most hurtful way possible. Huh? Anyway, Mel, it's time to make a decision. What's it going to be? Shall we go with an unpermitted absence from your first day at work and the beginning of your training course? Hello? Are you there? Why isn't there anybody here? Huh? I was messaging you in the bride's waiting room this whole time. I could hear some noise coming from the main hall around 20 minutes ago, but it was distracting me from our conversation, so I just locked the door and carried on talking to you. But I just got a message from Kyle saying nobody showed up to the wedding. Forget my friends, even my family and relatives didn't bother showing up. Where is everyone? Oh, I see. I wondered why you suddenly stopped replying. How would I know why no one showed up at your wedding? I didn't even know where it was being held or which day it was on, remember? But this makes no sense. There were supposed to be at least 30 people coming. And did you receive return letters confirming their attendance after sending out invites to all 30 of them? Of course I did. Like I'd forget something so simple. What the hell do you take me for? I see. Well, in that case, and this is just speculation, but is it possible they all agreed to cancel at the last minute behind your back? What? Why the heck would they do something like that? That's crazy! I won't say exactly who I heard this from. Let's just say it was a friend's brother's dog. But the word on the street is that you've always had a habit of stealing other women's boyfriends, and that you're not exactly the most popular girl in town, even among the people you call friends. Apparently everyone's been pretty cold towards Kyle since word got out he cheated on your sister with... Listen, Mel, I didn't come up with this, I'm just passing on the message, but apparently their nickname for you is the Town Whore. Oh my god, that's my nickname? And none of them showed up to my wedding? Ugh, this can't be happening. So yeah, I'm just speculating, but based on what I've heard, I'd say that's a pretty likely explanation for your current situation, wouldn't you? But I could always be wrong, there are other possibilities. So you really should get some confirmation before you go off and do anything rash. Oh my god, does everyone really hate me that much? This can't be happening, I was supposed to have a fairy tale wedding! About an hour after our last message, a woman in a wedding dress barged past security and sprinted up the stairs to our office as if she was possessed by some kind of demonic spirit. Needless to say, the police were called. The sight of Mel yelling, "I'm here for my training!" at the top of her lungs while being restrained by the slightly embarrassed security guard she blitzed past like a whirlwind only a minute before was one I'll never forget. It turned out my theory about the wedding guests plotting to cancel on Mel and my brother at the last minute was right on the mark. Apparently realizing they were no longer going to get any wedding gifts, they canceled the wedding and incurred a massive same-day cancellation fee. That, in combination with the compensation they both already owed Mel's older sister for the affair, must have been why Mel was so desperate not to lose her new job. She was so desperate, in fact, that she completely forgot to get changed and showed up at the office flailing around like an escaped mental patient in a wedding dress. Naturally, everyone at the company was mortified by the bizarre spectacle unfolding before their eyes, and she was fired right then and there. As for Kyle, he quit the same week, unable to bear now being the butt of every joke and the subject of every hushed conversation in the cafeteria. Last I hear, Mel and Kyle are currently spending their days in a cheap cockroach-infested apartment in the rough part of town while working like dogs to pay off their exorbitant debts.